Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 23rd of November. So we start off this week with positive news from AstraZeneca on the vaccine front, and that just builds on the positive news flow we've had on this over the past couple of weeks from Pfizer and Moderna as well. Now that's certainly having a risk on sentiment, certainly helping the risk on sentiment in the markets as well. So we'll take a look at how that's impacting on that. The impact of that, of course, is having a negative or a weakening of the US dollar too. So just want to remind you of this week's live trading stream, which is going to be running on Wednesday at 9 AM London time. You'll find the link to that session in the description below this video, where you'll be able to enter the session, and you'll also be able to set reminders to join it too. So let's have a look at some markets here and some of the sort of opportunities that we could be looking at with a risk on sentiment coming into the markets this week. So as I mentioned earlier, this risk on sentiment is having a negative impact on the dollar. We've seen that the dollar has been rather weak for quite some time now, and dollar yen has been one of the markets, particularly last week, that we were very keen to trade short as the market sort of pulled back up in towards this 105 level on the weekly chart. And you can see that that rolled over, and now we're continuing the trend here on the weekly chart, which has been sort of fairly consistent. Each time the market comes back into the fair value zone, it's rolled over, and we've seen some weakening for some time now. So again here on the on dollar yen, we're just underneath that 104 level. There's still plenty of distance to go if this trend is going to continue, and we'd be expecting new lower lows, and again looking at opportunities for positioning. Now some of the sort of opportunities might come here on time frames like the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame, where we've got some nice structured sort of flat levels starting to form here. Now these are not at this moment in time setting up sort of perfectly for us, because we've got a bit of divergence on the coming into the market, but again got some nice flat structures here on all of the pretty much most of the majors, in fact. So if we have a look at dollar yen, now come over to the dollar Swiss, you can see again similar structures forming here in dollar Swiss, particularly on that sort of 4-hour time frame. We'll also see the same on dollar CAD. We come over to dollar CAD, you can see that we've got a nice sort of level forming here around that sort of 1.3, just above that 1.330 area. Again looking sort of quite nice on these higher time frames to the short side, and dollar Sing as well, sort of looking rather nice to the short side. So dollar weakness is certainly one of the key plays that we're looking at this week, and looking at opportunities in some of these dollar related markets to the short side, particularly some of those I've just mentioned. Euro would be the complete opposite to that, and also cable is benefiting from a number of sort of different good news releases this morning. If we come over to the Dow, we can see that the Dow here is again starting to have a bit of a positive impact on the markets. Last week the market came back to the 29,150 area, and the pink level here, the 29,150, is the previous highs before the market sort of broke through these to test that 30 level. So price action sort of pulled back into this area. It was not surprising that we got back into this point, and I sort of mentioned last week that the market could retrace all the way back into this previous resistance, which is now acting as support. So again, finding a bit of support in here, we could get a move up towards the long side, and you can see that sort of evidence starting to happen. So if we take a look at this on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the next structure point that we have is around 2960, 29600 here. So we've got some relative sort of free space. If the market can make a new high from where we are at the moment, just getting above these sort of highs where price is at the moment, you can see there that we've got a bit of support and resistance around 29,450. Getting above that area gives us a trading window up to 29,600. Above 29,600 we've got pretty much a free space then up towards that 30,000 level again. So we've got some fairly well defined structure here to the long side on the Dow, and our preference is to the long side on these markets too. So coming over to the commodity front, now typical gold and silver and precious metals are weaker, and that's sort of typical because we've got risk on flavour in the markets at the moment. So taking advantage of that sort of strength, we could come over to oil. Now oil, we got positioned in oil late last week in the trading room, and we're still positioned in this and still looking for continued structure to the high side. So if we just take a look at this, I think there is potentially more to go on this if the market can sort of break out from where it is. So if we just have a look on the daily time frame for a start, we can see that the market has taken out this 42 area, which is the price point where we were getting long. Now on the daily, we've got to move up here to around that sort of 44.50 area, which takes in these highs up here. If I just sort of mark that in, you can see around sort of 44.50 takes in these highs here. We've got that sort of trading window here on the daily time frame up to that sort of price point. Now when we come down the time frames, we'll see that there is a bit of structure around 43, and that was the initial target for this original sort of setup. But if I just sort of zoom out of this on the 4-hour time frame, you'll see the sort of levels in here around that sort of 43 price point. Price has now sort of got up to this area, and again, just sort of zooming out of this, you can see there is still plenty of distance to get up to these highs. So first trade here, we've already got 2 targets in this already, so there's plenty of room to sort of manage risk. And again, we're looking at if the market can get above the 43 level, then actually looking at new opportunities and scaling into this for the continuation to the long side. So a couple of the ways that we could look at playing this would be wait for the market to break through, get some sort of pullback to find support around the 43 level, and that would be a good place to start to look for new opportunities for new positions. So there's a few opportunities there that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room going into the beginning of this week. I certainly hope it helps, and look forward to speaking to you on Wednesday. Bye for now.